Feed, written by M.T. Anderson, is a novel that in 2016 seems more like a prophecy. The book epitomizes Anderson's fears for the future of human society and how the trends and tendencies of a consumerism and capitalism-obsessed society can lead mankind into a dystopia. The Feed is a creation in Anderson's story, which is a technological advancement of a small chip implanted in humans' brains, giving each person essentially a hyper-powerful smartphone all inside their consciousness. With such a device, people can instantly chat their friends, buy a shirt, or watch a memory of recording, all without moving a muscle. The Feed tells users what to buy, what music to listen to, what to wear, and even what to say. The responsibility of decision-making in the book has shifted from humans to a small device. As Titus, the main character in Feed, says, everyone is super smart now. You can look at things like automatic, like science and history, like if you want to know which battles of the Civil War George Washington fought in and shit. Anderson's view in Feed is that people are entering a stage in which they're becoming less compassionate, less empathetic, and socially intellectual with the rise of the internet and subsequently now social media. For example, in one instance in Feed, Titus and his girlfriend walk into a party in which almost everyone there is interacting with their feeds rather than each other. Link and Marty were playing each other at this game. They couldn't see like anything, so when Violet walked in, Marty almost whacked her in the stomach with his fist. People are sitting around and some of them had music on their feeds, and some other people had imported a feedcast of Snowblind. This is a world in which when people are together, instead of talking to one another, instead of interacting with one another, they are mainly staring off into the distance, and instead interacting with a small machine inside their brain. That makes for frightening social dynamics, because it leads to apathetic relationships where people feel disconnected from one another. Society benefits when people are constantly inspiring one another and therefore making each other better. This viewpoint may be backed up by some scientific studies. In a 2014 study, a group of researchers wanted to see how iPhones were affecting face-to-face conversations. The researchers got 100 pairs of participants to have a 10-minute conversation with one another on one of two subjects. The researchers observed the 100 different conversations from a distance at a coffee shop. The researchers concluded that even the mere presence of an iPhone on the table or in the hand of either participant resulted in participants saying their conversations were significantly less fulfilling and there was significantly less empathetic concern between the pair. The researchers felt their study was significant because in the presence of a device that allowed participants to see anything, to be anywhere, to talk to anyone else, people were less likely to be involved in their local and immediate surroundings. Even when participants were not actively using their iPhone, the distractions of simply knowing that the digital stimuli was there weakened their interaction with one another. In my experience, I would mainly agree with many of the points taken up by the researchers. I have grown up in a social setting in which people constantly feel the urge to use their phones. I think this is something that me and my generation can absolutely relate to. People, including myself, rely on their phones to the point where they feel uncomfortable about it. In 2016, hanging out with your friend means often having to watch people go on their own personal device in front of you, rather than sharing a conversation or even a TV screen. Smartphones can often be divisive. They take people out of their current moment, where they physically exist, and instead put their mind somewhere else absent from their body. That is an unprecedented social change. For example, at a concert or live performance, many teens and adults from my generation feel the need to take out their phones and record the experience. That is a deeply significant change that may not seem so significant. Instead of actively participating in the performance, cheering, singing, they are digitally recording the experience and entering it into a database. Now, some may argue that this is just a change in social norms, one that does not necessarily represent any sort of problem. But how are we as a people going to become more empathetic, understanding, and tolerant of one another if we no longer cherish our experience of other humans and instead only experience one another through a digital LED screen?